Hello everyone, welcome to Prelims Warm Up. This initiative has been brought to you by AptiPlus Academy for Civil Services, and my name is Shaik Datta. I am the faculty for Geography and Environment at AptiPlus Academy for Civil Services. So in this initiative, we are looking at 5 Academy for Civil questions every day which have been asked in the previous year UPSC and the prelims examination. So let us look at the first question for today. The first question has been taken from UPSC Prelims 2018, and this question is asking which one of the following reflects the most appropriate relationship between law and liberty. So which one of the following it reflects the most appropriate relationship between law and liberty? A. If there are more laws, there is less liberty. B. If there are no laws, there is no liberty. C. If there is liberty, laws have to be made by the people. And D. If laws are changed too often, liberty is in danger. Once again, let us have a look at the options which have been given. You've been asked which reflects the most appropriate relationship between law and liberty. A. If there are more laws, there is less liberty. B. If there are no laws, then there is no liberty. C. If there is liberty, laws have to be made by the people. And D. If laws are changed too often, liberty is in danger. So which out of this is correct? Now let us have a look at the answer for this. Answer is B, that is, if there are no laws, then there is no liberty. What is the explanation for this? The term liberty, that means absence of restraints on the activities of individuals and at the same time providing opportunities for the development of individuals. It's very important that you understand the meaning of liberty. So when we say liberty, it means the absence of restraints on the activities of the individuals, and at the same time it also means that there should be sufficient amount of opportunities provided to the individuals for their development. However, liberty does not mean license to do what one likes. Okay, so it is not absolute in nature. Liberty does not mean that a person has the license to do whatever one likes, and it has to be enjoyed within the limitations mentioned in the constitution and the various laws. The concept of liberty is not absolute. That is, for example, in all the fundamental rights that we have, none of the fundamental rights, they are completely absolute in nature. Absence of laws does not ensure liberty, right? So the most appropriate relationship between law and liberty is B, that is, if there are no laws, there is no liberty. So that is 1B is the right answer for the first question. Moving on to the second question for today. The second question has also been taken from UPSC Prelims 2018, and there are two statements you have to select the right one. Number one, no criminal proceedings shall be instituted against the governor of a state in any court during his term of office. No criminal proceedings shall be instituted against the governor of a state in any court during his term of office. That is the first statement. The second statement is the emoluments and the allowances of the governor of a state shall not be diminished during his term of office, right? So once again, number one is no criminal proceedings shall be instituted against the governor of a state in any court during his term of office, and number two is the emoluments and the allowances of the governor of a state shall not be diminished during his term of office, and you have to select the right answer. So let us look at the answer for this. 2C is the right answer, that is both 1 and 2. Both of them are correct. So let's see the explanation for this. Just like the president, the governor is also entitled to a number of privileges and immunities. So if you go through Lakshmikant and the chapter on governor, you get to see just like the president, the governor is also entitled, the governor also has a number of privileges and immunities. During his term of office, he is immune from any criminal proceedings, even in respect of his personal acts. Very important that you emphasize and that you understand our governor, he or he is immune to any kind of criminal proceeding, not civil proceedings, criminal proceedings for any personal act. Hence, statement 1 is absolutely correct. So during his term of office, the governor is immune from any criminal proceedings, even in respect of his personal acts. The governor is entitled to such emoluments, allowances, and privileges as may be determined by the parliament. his emoluments and allowances cannot be diminished during his term of office. So the second statement is also correct. Both the statements are correct, and that is why 2C is the right answer. This question was from Polity. Now moving on to the third question, we have a question from Art and Culture. And this question was also asked in UPSC Prelims 2018. So this question is asking the well-known painting Bani Thani. The well-known painting Bani Thani belongs to the A. Bundi School, B. Jaipur School, C. Kangra School, and D. Kishangarh School. Once again, the well-known painting Bani Thani belongs to the A. Bundi School, B. Jaipur School, C. Kangra School, and D. Kishangarh School. So which is correct number out of all this? So the right answer we get to see is D. So Bani Thani is an Indian painting in the Kishangarh School of Paintings. So Bani Thani is a type of Indian painting in the Kishangarh School of Paintings. Bani Thani was painted by an artist by the name of Nihal Chand. Okay. Bani Thani, it is an Indian painting in the Kishangarh School of Paintings, and it was painted by an artist whose name was Nihal Chand. The painting's subject, that is Bani Thani, was a singer and poet in Kishangarh in the times of King Sawan Singh. So Bani Thani is the name of a well-known painting, and it belongs to the Kishangarh School of Paintings. And it was painted, see, Bani Thani is an Indian painting in the Kishangarh School of Paintings, and it was painted by an artist by the name of Nihal Chand. The painting's subject, that is Bani Thani, it was a singer and a poet in Kishangarh during the time of King Sawan Singh. So this is with regards to question number 3. Question number 3B is the right answer. Moving on to question number 4. Okay. Question number 4 that we have is from Current Affairs 2018 prelims. It was asked in, and the question is asking, what is Terminal High Altitude Area Defense? THAAD. Third, what is Terminal High Altitude Area Defense? That is third, which is sometimes seen in the news. A. An Israeli radar system. B. India's indigenous anti-missile program. C. An American anti-missile system. And D. A defense collaboration between Japan and South Korea. So what is meant by the Terminal High Altitude Area Defense? Third, which is sometimes seen in the news. Is it A. An Israeli radar system, B. India's anti-missile program, C. An American anti-missile system, and D. A defense collaboration between Japan and South Korea? So let us have a look at the right answer. Right answer is C, that is, it is the name of an American anti-missile system. Terminal High Altitude Area Defense, that is the name of an American anti-missile system. So the Terminal High Altitude Area Defense, the Terminal High Altitude Area Defense, also simply called as the THAAD third, it is an American missile system, American missile defense system that is designed to intercept, and destroy short and medium range ballistic missiles in their final flight phase. So the Terminal High Altitude Area Defense, or THAAD, it is an American missile defense system which is designed to intercept and destroy short and medium range ballistic missiles in their final flight phase. It was first proposed in 1987 and then finally deployed in 2008. This THAAD, it cannot be used as a form of attack against an enemy. It is meant to be a defense. So if there is kind of a medium or range or a short range ballistic missile which is trying to hit any American city or any city for that matter, so that particular country, if it has this particular missile defense system, that it can employ missiles to destroy the incoming missile. So it is an American missile defense system which is designed to intercept and destroy short and medium range ballistic missiles in their final flight phase. It was first proposed in 1987, finally it was deployed in 2008, and it is meant for defense, not for offense as such. So it cannot be used for attacking any enemy. Okay, now finally moving on to the last question, and this question was also is also from Art and Culture, also asked in UPSC Prelims 2018. The question is asking, with reference to the cultural history of India. With reference to the cultural history of India, consider the following statements. Number 1, most of the Tyagaraja Kirtis are devotional songs in praise of Lord Krishna. Okay, most of the Tyagaraja Kirtis are devotional songs in praise of Lord Krishna. That is the first statement. The second statement is Tyagaraja created several new rags. Third, Annamacharya and Tyagaraja are contemporaries. And fourth statement is Annamacharya Kirtanas, they are devotional songs in praise of Lord Venkateshwara. So you have four statements. This is with regards to the cultural history of India. Number one, most of the Tyagaraja Kirtis are devotional songs in praise of Lord Krishna. Two, Tyagaraja created several new rags. Three, Annamacharya and Tyagaraja are contemporaries. And four, Annamacharya Kirtanas are devotional songs in praise of Lord Venkateshwara. So let us have a look at the right answer. The right answer is B. That is 2 and 4. So 2 is saying Tyagaraja created several new rags, that is correct. And 4, which says that Annamacharya Kirtanas are devotional songs in praise of Lord Venkateshwara. So these two statements are correct. Let us have a look at the explanation. Why the first statement is not correct, statement number 1. What was statement number 1? Statement number 1 was saying most of the Tyagaraja Kirtis are devotional songs in praise of Lord Krishna. And it is not correct because most of Tyagaraja songs were in praise of Lord Rama, who like Krishna is believed to be an incarnation of the god Vishnu. So it was most of Tyagaraja songs, they are devotional songs, they are kirtans or kirtis which are in praise of Lord Ram and not Lord Krishna. And both Lord Rama and Krishna, they are supposed to be, or they are believed to be incarnations of Lord Vishnu. Okay. Now moving on to the second question. Second question was saying that Tyagaraja created several new rags. Tyagaraja, he created several new rags. So that is correct because Tyagaraja is credited with various musical innovations, including the use of a structured variation of musical lines within the performance, a practice that may have been derived from improvisatory techniques. Okay. So Tyagaraja is credited with various musical innovations, including the use of a structured variation of musical lines within the performance, a practice that may have been derived from improvisatory techniques. So he did create many new rags. The third statement was Annamacharya and Tyagaraja are contemporaries. Annamacharya and Tyagaraja, they are contemporaries. So that is also not correct because Tyagaraja belonged to the 18th century, whereas Annamacharya belonged to the 15th century. Okay. So Tyagaraja belonged to 18th century and Annamacharya belonged to the 15th century. So because they lived in different era, you can see, and that is why they cannot be called to be contemporaries. Finally, the last statement is correct, which said that Annamacharya Kirtanas, they are devotional songs in praise of Lord Venkateshwara. So that is correct because Annamacharya was a 15th century Hindu saint and is the earliest known Indian musician to compose songs which are called as Sankirtans in praise of Lord Venkateshwara, which is also a form of Lord Vishnu. So Annamacharya was a 15th century Hindu saint and he is the earliest known Indian musician to compose songs called Sankirtans in praise of Lord Venkateshwara, and Lord Venkateshwara is also considered to be another form of Lord Vishnu. Okay. So statement number 2 is correct and statement number 1 is not correct because most of Tyagaraja Kirtis are devotional songs in praise of Lord Ram. Tyagaraja did create many new rags, a lot of improvisation was done. Annamacharya was living in the 15th century, whereas on the other hand we have Tyagaraja who lived in the 18th century, so they cannot be called or they cannot be said to be contemporaries. Annamacharya Kirtanas are devotional songs in praise of Lord Venkateshwara, who is another form of Lord Vishnu. That is also correct. So 2 and 4 are correct. The right answer is B. So 5B is the right answer. So with this we come to the end of the 5 questions for today's episode of the Prelims Warm-Up. I hope you have liked the video. Please let us know in the comment section. Also, please like the video and please share and subscribe to Aptitude Academy for Civil Services YouTube channel for more such informative videos. Till then, we'll meet again with another set of new 5 questions. Till then, stay safe and study hard. Thank you so much.